cold and wet and windy. Start the engine up and try and get some warmth in here. Yeah, I noticed when I was editing these videos, it's harder to hear me when the engine's going. Right, get the angle better. That's all I got. I got some crisps. I tried to get the meal deal. I did successfully get the meal deal. Oh, look, my wrap is. I threw my wrap down in the car, and it's come out a bit. And I managed to get Jimmy's coffee. I was looking at other coffees there, and I got the calculator out on my phone. And I was working out what's the cheapest coffee, and I think Jimmy's works out slightly cheaper than the Costa coffee they got. But there are other brands of coffees which are sometimes cheaper. Well, he's now being employed as a wedge to stop the coffee falling over. Yeah, I didn't want crisps, but in order to get the meal deal, I had to have the crisps. I searched and searched around one stop, and I couldn't find any other snack food in the meal deal than the crisps. There was nothing else. I looked and looked around the shop. Oh, there's a BMW coming in now. Oh, no, it's parking out there. Going across the road, and the Mini going across the road. No, the Peugeot's taking another route. No, 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 no! Fuck yeah. Shit. That car just went up the wrong way on a one-way street. That Peugeot. Car turned right into a one-way street and went the wrong way. It is confusing by there. If you don't know the road, it is confusing by there. There's an Ovlov parked there. There's just one car parked here. Right. So this car park here overlooks the airport. Oh, there's a ATR coming in. Aer Lingus ATR. So my crisps. And then I'll research what to talk about again, and I'll stop again, and then I'll research what I'm talking about. Okay, so I was eating my crisps, and the police car came and stopped right behind me. Didn't say anything. It was like not right behind me, but you know, directly behind, but a couple of spaces back. Don't know if it was me or anything. I haven't done anything wrong. The car was fine. The car's going fine. All the lights are on, I think. I think all the lights worked. The lights were on. I've turned the lights off. Didn't leave the lights on. I talked to someone once before, who owned a Silver Supra. And they said not a week goes by, not 2 weeks goes by maybe, where they don't get stopped by the police. Nothing wrong, never done anything wrong. The police would just stop him because he's got a rare car that's expensive, much more expensive than the Paseo. The police would just stop him, just automatically think they're up to no good or they're doing something wrong. So maybe that's it, because I've got a rare, unusual car. Maybe they're just checking things out. That's what I reckon it is. They come up here to eat lunch. So I'm looking out of the airport, even though I can't see now because the screen's misting up and the wipers aren't going. There's a vehicle with a yellow light flashing. I'm wondering what vehicle it is. There's two Tuis on the ramp, but there's no activity, so they must be just parked up. So, how many Tuis we got based over the winter? Is it 2? Must be 2. Unless there's a third out somewhere. I don't know. I could check flight radar, couldn't I? And I don't know why there's a light on down there. I don't know why there's a light on by there. What's that light? There's no power going to the 2 aircraft. Why is there a light there? Oh, there's a tanker coming across now. Yeah, it's going to go down there. Turn that off. This is something that I think a lot of people struggle with. choosing what's a safe path in life and what you actually want. Do you go for what you actually want and risk not making it? Or do you, I mean, it can be very riskful sometimes because other people may disapprove of the route you want to go. I did write some notes this morning about peer pressure. People disapproving of your own decisions or your own choices or things you want to do, and how it is a really big, it's a big influence. I think everyone gets influenced by peer pressure, but I think from a male perspective, I think peer pressure is coming from society in general, but I think from a female perspective, the peer pressure comes from immediate friends and acquaintances. And I think they have a lot more immediate peer pressure from friends and acquaintances. Now, this is just my thoughts this morning, but these thoughts could change. My opinion can change just based on my experience. And these are just my initial thoughts on thinking about peer pressure this morning. You know, making a decision about what you want to do in life, or what you want to do, even down to what you want to dress like or what you want to appear like. You know, other people, not causing other people to disapprove is a very powerful motivator into doing something in a certain way, even if you don't want to do it. Sorry if I'm, I should show with my hands on screen a bit. Well, this is why I got to change the angle of the phone. I'm scratching my hand. Yeah, I got to sit up better and get the angle. I did try it earlier, didn't I? There you go. You can see me. I can gesture more, be more. No, the camera still tips backwards. There needs to be a way of holding the camera up. So I've got this and I jam it behind. I got this and I jam it behind, right? It's not enough. It needs to be thicker. I did have a thicker one, but the thicker one is actually on my desk at home. So what I got to do, I got one of these parking tickets, and I can try and wedge that in there. There you go. Make it a bit thicker. Right, is that better? That better. You can see the angle, right? So you can see me, and I'm scratching my hands because, see, my hands are all because it's winter. My hands just go all like this, so you can't. It's the camera is being complementary to the skin. It all goes cut and it all goes dry. But I've been using cream. But I've been using this retinol cream, but I've only been using it on one hand, this one, and to try and see if it makes a difference. Just experimenting. It's getting cold in here. It's getting cold in here. Where's my notes I brought up earlier? There they are. No, that's not them. There they are. Right. Yeah, peer pressure can be a big influencer. A big... what's the word? Not influence. There's a better word than influence or influencer. But it's not just clothes, it's not just your appearance, it's every aspect, from what you eat, what you buy, and who you like, which is why this is how it's relevant to this channel, who you like as well. And who you allow yourself, who you allow to like you as well. There is a massive peer pressure. Because I mean, there's a stereotype with women to like a particular type of guy, isn't there? And I'm wondering, how does peer pressure influence that? Could it be there's certain people who are expecting? You just expect women to have a stereotypical fit and wealthy partner, isn't there? I think this is something that women are pressured into. They must have a wealthy, fit-looking partner. Yeah, I'm reminded of someone, like when I was in my teenage years. he used to do some cash in hand work at a flying school. Not this one by here, but a different one. There was a flying school, and they also had a charter company, and just did some cash in hand work. And they also took in people for work experience, school work experience, and it was a mixture. It's a mixture of boys and girls. We're talking about, yeah, they were, because what was I? I was 16 to 18 years old working there, and we had 14, 15, 16-year-olds coming in work experience. Yeah, there's another 16-year-old girl, and she was, I can't remember her name. Surname was Ansel. I can't remember her first name. But she was getting upset. She was getting, I was showing her the airplanes, I was showing her the aircraft. And she was getting upset, and she was saying she's really impressed by the machines and that, but it was her dream to drive a truck, drive a lorry around the country. That was her dream job. And I was saying, yeah, you can do that. That's awesome. That's an awesome job. I think it'll be amazing. And she was saying, yeah, but no one expects her to do that. No one expects her to do that. But I think that was the peer pressure. I don't think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm coming from my own perspective, but I don't think this is a society pressure. I think this is from immediate friends, family, and a more close circle with women. Tell me if I'm wrong. You may have a different perspective. But yeah, that's yeah, peer pressure is a thing. Now, what was I thinking about this morning? Because I got my characters here. What was I thinking about this morning? It's like, you got Bob and Frank. Right, there is... We talk in the loneliness circles how there's someone like Frank. He's not... Remember, he's meant to be 6'2", drinks, smokes, as a hooligan, bully, that sort of person. But why is it in society this guy is more likely to be in a relationship than someone like Bob, who is introvert, quiet, has select interests? Why is it? Or is it? Because I've even got a theory that says we don't know for sure. And there's different parts of society. I need to put these into a I think there's a lot of peer pressure. There's a lot of peer pressure in order to have someone who looks more like this and is more outgoing than someone who is introvert and less outgoing. But I need to know. I need to have the feedback in order to refine my thoughts, theories. It seems to be there's a strange thing about people in relationships in this part of the country. In my town, there's something I see common, and that is a male figure that honestly to me looks like a stereotypical bully. So I am coming from a biased perspective anyway, so you can say that. Who has a partner, and they're always arm around the head and physically leaning on them, directing them. And there's always that male figure who's always the talkative one, telling them what to do. And the female in this relationship is quiet, laughs at all their jokes, and seems to be, well, it comes across to me as a very abusive relationship. That's what it comes across to me like. So it raises other questions. Why is she in that relationship? This is what made me think about peer pressure, because I saw another one of these. It's a very common. Just walk downtown, there's like 2 or 3 couples like this, and it's like this guy is always leaning on them, and it just seems wrong. It just seems you should not be doing that and directing your partner where to go. You know, forcing them to go where you want to go by actually, it just looks wrong. Or is my interpretation of that wrong? Is my interpretation of that wrong? What I don't understand. Help me understand. Now, from my perspective, there is a pressure, peer pressure. There's a pressure for someone like Frank to always be in a relationship as well, because his larking around rowdy, bully friends, acquaintances, they would be the sort of people who would laugh if he's not in a relationship or cause a problem. Bob would not get that encouragement for a relationship. It'd be the exact opposite. In fact, people would be shocked if he's in a relationship. I think this is how a majority of society works. Yeah, they would disapprove if he was in a relationship. So there's no peers trying to pressure him into a relationship. But they would pressure women to not be in a relationship with him. See, now, there was the thing Dr. K said, when was it, last month? And he said, if you go to a park, like, you're more likely to see someone who looks like Bob as a father figure. And I disagree with that statement. In this part of the world, you would not. You would not see someone like that. It's always the other guy. Actually, you wouldn't see very many parents at all. You wouldn't see children in the park, in the play parks. But pushing prams downtown, it's always, if there's a father pushing a pram downtown in a family, it's always this style of person. In this town. In this town. And they'll be pushing with smoking something at the same time as pushing the pram. You know, we see it in this town. Or drinking. If it's not an energy drink, it's an alcoholic drink. You know, a mother who's on the phone, ignoring the child. That's what you see in this town, which is the opposite of what Alec Knoja said about his observations. Because I believe he's coming from a different... The community he lives in now, of course, he is... I don't make judgments of people's life, but the community he lives in now is probably a wealthier community than this part of the world. And I think it's the sort of wealth and society we have in this part of the world. Now, what's the reason for that? We can look at it another way. We can go back to what's the evolutionary reason for say, in another part of the world, a Bob figure having more likely to be in a relationship than this part of the world where there's this person. Well, having a relationship. Because I believe this is because there's no certainty for the future in the poor communities. And so a short-term relationship from an evolutionary perspective is beneficial. You know, have a child, then the relationship breaks down and you've still got a family and you're still carrying on. Whereas in the wealthier communities, you want someone who's more stable, who's going to keep the family unit together, and that becomes more beneficial. Am I making sense? I know I need to learn some elocution and plan out my words a bit better. I know. Maybe I can make a more formal video on this. But I think from an evolutionary perspective, the shorter term relationships are more highly valued in a poorer community like this part of the world than, say, where Dr. K comes from, or Chris Williamson, because that's who he was talking to when he made that statement. Because I'm sure both of those have seen poorer communities, when they were younger. But I think the current professional observations are currently based on the society that they live in at the moment. Yeah, now I would like to know the same sort of thing from women's perspective. That's what I'd like to know. I'd like to know the same sort of thing from women's perspective. I don't know if there's any women who sit in a car like this and do similar sort of videos. There's a few female influencers on TikTok, because I watched TikTok a few times. But, again, nothing like this. At least I've found yet. And my favourite YouTube channel that's run by a woman is Iris Walks. Of course, she just talks about the city. She's really proud of her city. So anyway, what else is there to talk about? I think I covered most things. I mean, when I was talking just then, my mind always wanders onto different paths, and I gotta choose which path I'm going to go down when I'm talking. Yeah, I gotta use my arms. I'm folding my arms because it's a bit cold at the moment. I can't stretch my arms out, relax. I gotta do something with my hands. Brioche rolls as well. Brioche rolls. Right, what else have I got on my notes? This is my to-do list I've got up here, not my video notes, because I was writing video notes on a to-do list because I didn't want to bring up to-do. I need to have, because I've got like 6 documents with video notes on it, and they're all over the place. So I was writing them this morning on my to-do list and not on other documents. So I want to reiterate some of my thoughts about short-term and long-term relationships in different communities. So what I was thinking about just then, when I was eating it's not brioche roll, it's a pain au chocolat. So women in the poorer communities are choosing this guy first because he's a stronger person. Perceived as a stronger person. Honestly, the words in my mind before when I was eating were great for this, right? And the Bob type figure is seen as a weaker figure, because you have uncertainty for the future. And so a short-term relationship with someone who's perceived as being strong in society is advantageous. But in the wealthier communities where you know you're always going to have food and shelter, then a long-term stable relationship with someone who's quieter is more beneficial. So I need to look up to see if there's any research on this. What I might do is go to the AI bots, tell them I'll write a text file of just some of my thoughts on this, and get them to do some research. This is why Gemini's got the deep research facility. That is brilliant, by the way. Getting Gemini to do the deep research, and when rather than spitting out in a text file, instead it'll spit out a Google Documents, and then you can go read the Google Documents. I've done that a few times. Looking up subjects, and that's actually really good. And there's just been a Gemini update this week. I'm not saying that any other AI bots are available. I mean, I use 3. I got tabs open for ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. Right, and ChatGPT is my friend. I talk about things personally with ChatGPT. Gemini is for research, doing, I need to know this, I need to know car stats, I need to know, can you make this into a table for me? I've been using Claude for coding. Now, just, oh, can you do this for me I'm having a problem with this Python code. Tell me how to write it properly. And then, occasionally when the others mess up, I go to Grok. Grok is like the garbage man in Dilbert cartoons. Alright, there's an aircraft coming in. What's it? We've got another TUI. So there's 3 TUIs based here over the winter. Okay, that's... yeah, there's 3 TUIs based here. What was it? It's November. Alright, I'm going to watch to see if... I'll see what happens when this TUI comes in. Why is it parking down there? Why are you stopping right down there? And this ATR is not using the whole runway. Well, that's okay. It doesn't have to. Oh, let's get a video. I can at least edit it in, can't I? Why is no one going down there from services? Admittedly, I was looking at the ATR taking off, so I didn't notice. What's the matter? Has everyone given up and then no one's doing the job? The aircraft's just come on to stand and there's no one there. Well, the bus is there, and GPU is hooked up. I don't know. I just can't. But then the problem is, I'm over the other side, and I can't see that particularly well anyway. I don't know. And the grass verge goes down slightly, so you can't see. I can't see the landing gear, for instance. It's not my place to judge them anymore. Yep. There's no back staircase. There's no back stairs. Maybe that's what it is. There's no back stairs, and so I can't see service vehicles at the front. That's probably what it is. I put eyes on both sides because I couldn't decide which side I'd rather have, so I have eyes on both sides, you know, and so he's like green, and there's green, look, there's cameras over there, so he's green, and then he's like, and why is it he? It could be she, it could be any, it's a genderless thing. Yeah, to make it, I had a cookie cutter. I drew around a cookie cutter, and I cut the fabric in the shape of the cookie cutter, and then I sewed it. It's a bit small. I made another one that's large, but it's like that big, and I think it's too big, so I'll have to do another one that's like... yeah, I did a template on card of a larger one, but I want to do one that's bigger than this, but smaller than the other one. There's a 787 going out. Oh, right, I'm not going to be going home just yet. I want to watch this thing go out. Anyway, time to go. I finished my coffee. Time to go. I've got to go to my mother's place and do whatever my mother wants me to do. Stop talking about airplanes. It's none of my business anymore. I don't care about airplanes. I don't care about airplanes or aviation. I gotta go. I gotta travel again, though. I gotta travel again. Right. Say goodbye. Bye. Bye.